All right. This is Billy and Brian. We're going to talk about DC 1000, issue 1000. It's the 80 years in the making of DC Comics. The specific story we're going to talk about is a Batman story called Manufacture for Use, written by Kevin Smith, prolific writer, written Batman before. Jim Lee, obviously prolific artist. Now he's big wig at DC. Scott Williams inks, Alex Sinclair colors, and Todd Klein did the lettering. All these stories are 8 pages long. It's a 96-page issue, so they really get right at it. I really like the story. Sort of goes into the past and the future of Bruce Wayne and Batman, and brings a lot of old things to the forefront, and sort of gives a little nod to past work, but at the same time it's something new that I've never seen before. What'd you think of the issue, Brian, or the story?
Well, I think our listeners will like it because it's only 8 pages, so they won't have to listen to us go through 24 pages of this for our first episode.
Definitely.
It was really good. You read a lot more comics than me, so you probably, reading it early on, was able to figure out what was going on, but we were talking before we started the podcast about Matches Malone, and that completely slipped my mind on that being Batman's.
So, who did you think was buying the gun? So basically, run through the story is Matches Malone shows up at a pawn shop, and it's not just any pawn shop. It's like a DC villain pawn shop with archived weapons from famous crimes or archived costumes, where you just buy wholesale and it's real shady. So Batman uses alter ego, or Bruce Wayne uses alter ego, Matches Malone, which is a dude with sunglasses, mustache, always has a match in his mouth, straight up gangster, so he can infiltrate sort of gangs without being Bruce Wayne or Batman. And he is looking to purchase the gun used by Joe Chill that killed his parents the night of their murder, which started this whole Batman crusade. And he takes it, and at the end, he melts it down and makes a chest plate for his new suit. So something used to break his heart as a child was used to protect his heart as a man.
And the whole time they're going through this process, there's like essentially a B-roll of different pictures of Batman fighting Bane, Clayface, Joker, Penguin,
Croc, Firefly,
Mr. Freeze, and I took notice to this early on, that every hit Batman's taking is kind of right in that Batman emblem center of his chest. So that was something that stood out to me early, and I thought that was weird. They weren't drawing attention to it, but it was just something I picked up on.
And sometimes it was a gunshot, sometimes it was a fist, sometimes it was 2 fists, sometimes it was 2 guns or a flame.
And who's this guy shooting him?
So this was cool. Kevin Smith actually created this villain for his 3-issue arc called The Widening Gyre, which actually the 3rd one hasn't come out yet, which his buddy drew with him, or drew and he wrote. And his name is...
he almost has like a bullseye on his mask.
Yeah, it's a really cool design. It's simple. He's got a classic trench coat, mask, boots.
Anyway, he just gave Batman the 2-piece with a Coke to his chest.
I'm going to say his name is like Osimoto or something strange like that. But yeah, they're all, without you knowing, what's great about these 8 pages is it's short and quick, and they fill the dialogue in, but at the same time they do a flashback through these big moments with these classic characters, so they're fitting like 8 different villains in 8 different pages, while the present day narrative is over top of it, and you're just getting like a flashback of the action, while most of it is just an interaction at a pawn shop that you're not seeing.
And so the whole time that I'm not realizing who Matches Malone is, and he's talking to this dealer, I'm thinking he's going to get like one of these weapons that was lost in one of these battles that we're seeing, like maybe Mr. Freeze's gun. In the beginning, he has to see the gun, so I was like, oh, maybe he's going to get Freeze's gun and go after Batman, but then he asks about a specific pistol, which the dealer then tells him that that's the gun that killed his parents. Well, we don't know that that's... Unless you know...
Wayne's parents.
Yeah, unless you know that Malone was Batman, you don't know that it's his parents yet. until he goes back to the Batcave, and there's a funny part with him and Alfred. Bruce Wayne says, "I didn't argue with you about bringing the dinosaur back down to the Batcave, and I pulled my back out doing that because Alfred thinks it's a little sadistic even for him to get the gun that killed his parents and put it in like his collection.
Trophy collection, yeah. It's what it seems like he's going to do at first. He's keeping it as a trophy, or he's going to look at it every day to remind him of the tragedy. But the last page, or the second to last page, it's revealed that he melts it down, and you don't know what he's making. The last page reveals that it's the Batman chest plate, the emblem itself, the yellow and black classic that's going over top, which is now made of the gun steel.
Now, one thing I do want to point out, a little bit of a side note, I've been looking at a bunch of blacksmithing videos on YouTube, and Bruce Wayne, he gets it up to the 1500 degrees, and then he quenches it, but he doesn't temper it back down to the 400 degrees, so that's going to be a brittle chest plate, Billy.
Well, you have to keep in mind, because he's an 8-page comic, and they can't make a little comic box for everything. You have to fill in the blanks with your own brain. I mean, do you want to see him driving his car home from the pawn shop to the Batcave? No, we don't need to see that.
I find pleasure. I find pleasure in the minutia.
That can be your comic. Batman tempering steel the whole time, and all the steps through that.
No, but solid 8-page comic with a little twist at the end that someone who's not an avid comic book reader like myself found enjoyable.
Right, and Kevin Smith, Jim Lee, you can't go wrong with that. And the fact that they actually brought something a little new to the Batman mythology without changing anything at all that would make anybody upset, just added something new, and you get to see Matches Malone, you get to see Clayface, Bane, you get to see Firefly, you get to see Killer Croc, Scarecrow, Alfred, Mr. Zaz, Catwoman, the ventriloquist guy, all in 8 pages. Pretty dope.
And the art's crazy. I mean,
yeah, Jim Lee is his best. Great colors by Alex Sinclair. Great inks by Scott Williams.
I know a lot of artists have different styles, which I can appreciate, but this is a style that I really enjoy, something that's really close to almost looking at like a picture of the scene itself.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Jim Lee's art?
No.
So
I wouldn't be able to pick it out.
So he was big in the early mid-90s because he drew X-Men. Remember when it was like X-Men was at its top when the cartoon was out?
Yeah.
And there was all the women were beautiful and they were wearing tight clothes, and there was Rogue and Jubilee. Then Wolverine and Cyclops looked awesome. That was Jim Lee. Jim Lee drew all that. It was all that style. And then he ended up getting picked up by Todd McFarlane, and they started whatchamacallit?
Dark Horse?
No. Oh
Image?
Image. Yeah, Image Comics. So he got picked up early and just has been a beast illustrator. Even through his big job at DC, he's still been drawing the entire time, which is awesome. He did Batman Hush. Did you ever read that?
Nope.
It's a good one. They're coming out with an animated Hush, DC animated movie Hush.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks dope. We'll have to watch that. Compare the comics.
Most def. Yeah, Batman was taking a ton of shots to his chest, so I'm not sure why.
But that was another. I wonder if that was Kevin Smith wrote that in the script. They talked about it. Or if that was Jim Lee, just like I have to draw each Batman getting hit each time or interacting with the villains. How about we? Has to be something Kevin Smith.
So I have to say, I think I lose a little bit of respect for Batman's intelligence here for taking all these shots to the chest and not doing anything until he finds his parents' murder weapon to melt that down. Why wouldn't he have something before this?
Well, obviously he got shot in the chest right there and he's not dead, so he did something. Maybe it was just a random piece of steel or some sort of vibranium or adamantium.
Is vibranium in this world?
No,
or is that Marvel?
That's both Marvel. Vibranium's the Black Panther stuff.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't use adamantium. Till now.
All
yeah,
right.
Mr. Freeze.
And then what are these other... So,
Penguin.
and when they first go back into the Gotham gift shop, which is where this dealer
That's
is...
what it's called, the Gotham gift shop, right? Okay.
What are some of these other things that we see? Is that the Riddler's hat here?
So on what's like the second page where Matches Malone is being walked into the Gotham gift shop right off the bat, it looks like Mad Hatter's hat, Something from Poison Ivy, like one of those why can't I speak? Protective
Jars.
vials
Yeah.
with Poison Ivy in it. Looks like a glider from, who is that? Who is the glider? That's not Firefly. It's the same one that has looks like a grasshopper kind of. I don't know. But that's obviously a Joker mallet, where the face is the hammer and then the long nose is the handle.
I
the
didn't
staff.
even notice
That's pretty
the handle.
cool, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And would this be Scarecrow? This big scythe?
Oh yeah, that's definitely Scarecrow. And that jacket. Not sure whose jacket that is.
Well,
Maybe it's a Hush thing. Maybe it's up to our imagination. Maybe it's Penguin. Yeah, I mean they just fill so many like little Easter eggs or like in all these panels. I mean they gotta fit it in for 8 pages, so they really did a good job of not skimping on the details
no.
in the text or the images.
Solid art, solid story.
And of course it starts with a Joker.
But the question,
Acid flowering him right in the bat symbol.
oh yeah, big question is, if you have to rate this 1 to 10, you can't use a 7 because that's a cop out. What do you give it? Keeping in mind an 8-page comic.
Because I'm biased because I love Jim Lee, Kevin Smith, and Batman, I would say 9. It was a 9 for me.
I was gonna give it a 9 too. Although the story itself does not really involve fighting, the B-roll, there's a lot of fighting in these.
Yeah, they cover it in the
previous imaging.
flashbacks. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of great scenes here.
Yeah. Bravo. This is what 8-page comics should be. I know that these are 2 of the best in the business doing it, so it's easy to say, but the rest of the book is wonderful. Maybe we'll cover them in the future, but yeah. I got mine with the Tim Sale edition cover on it. Tim Sale, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunted Nights.
Last question I have is, Matches Malone has like a little pencil mustache, but
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne doesn't. Do you think he grows it out when he's prepping to be Matches Malone, or has Alfred put on a little bit of makeup for him?
He is a master planner, so he might be able to plan, all right, I have 12 hours till Matches Malone, I can't shave. But I'm assuming that it's fake. I don't know.
You think Alfred does it for him, or you think he does it
No,
himself?
he does it himself.
Yeah.
No. Alfred has more important things to do, like ironing capes and polishing giant dinosaur trophies.
It's a good
All
one.
right. It's a great one. All right. That was fun. See you guys never.
Bye.